Okay, well, hello everybody. My name is Evan Leibovitch. I'm with the Linux Professional Institute. Thank you for joining us today on the webinar. The world is changing fast. It needs digital professionals. Today we have more than 500 of you joining us from 5 continents, so I want to welcome you all. During the webinar, please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A in the chat box at the bottom. Submit questions publicly or privately. We will keep track and we'll try to answer them at the end of the presentation. So they'll be done at the end and not in the middle of the presentation. So please ask your questions and we'll get to them as we can. This webinar is being recorded. The recording, slides, and resources gathered through the webinar will be sent out to everyone next week and posted on our YouTube channel. So today, the presentation is going to describe the relationship between LPI NDG and the Cisco Networking Academy, and the NDG and Cisco Networking Academy Linux programs, and how our combined programs and effort can help you advance your career and find employment in this rapidly growing field. So I'm pleased to have with me Jorge Leiton from Cisco Networking Academy and Madjida Garcia from Network Development Group. They're going to join me today to describe this new partnership and what it can do for your career working with Linux and open source software. Jorge, could you please start us off talking about the Cisco Networking Academy and how it's addressing the world's growing need for people with proven IT skills?
Thank you. Thank you, Evan, and welcome everyone. Very excited to be here, and it's great to see this great group of people from all around the world joining this session today. So Cisco knows a thing or two about information technology, and we are also very much aware of the growing in the IT skills, the growing gap on the IT skills. As Evan mentioned, the world is changing really fast. And the networks are facing their biggest transformation ever. In the next 2 years, 60% of enterprises will consider networking as a core to their digital strategy. 63% of IT leaders plan to implement advanced networks that can dynamically meet the business needs. And 27% of IT leaders have identified lack of necessary skills as a main obstacle to transition to an advanced network, and that will enable them to offer the services they need to bring to market. And to make this transformation possible, software developers will play a key role. By 2024, the number of developers worldwide is expected to increase 20%. But when you think about the skills, you're probably thinking software development, you'll be working on a company in the technology industry. But I have to tell you that today, even traditional job roles outside the tech industry require a lot of software skills. And we're talking about jobs in retail, financial, medical, industrial, and pretty much every other job. I mean, IT literacy is a need, and it is needed everywhere. As I mentioned, within the IT skills needed, software represents one of the biggest one, specifically software engineers, software developers. And like I said before, maybe you're thinking, oh, I want to be working with for an IT company or an IT organization, and that's not necessarily. Well, networking is part of the IT departments, but networking has been evolving, and we're getting to a point where automation is needed in networking. What do I mean with automation? Is the way that we traditionally manage the networks, which is setting up devices one at a time, one by one, is no longer possible. We are bringing millions of new devices. We're connecting millions of new devices every day. And we cannot, the companies, the organization cannot scale if we keep doing things the way we've been doing it in the past 20, 25 years. So automation, it's something that is becoming key, not only in networking, but other industries like manufacturing. But these are not the only ones, as I mentioned. Let's think about the medical services and about prescriptions. So you go to the doctor, and normally it's still in many countries around the world, now that we have this big audience from everywhere, you get a paper with a prescription from the doctor. Just imagine, then you need to take that prescription, go to the pharmacy, wait for the medicines, maybe come back another day. So that is evolving. In many places now, everything is digital. So you just go to the doctor, they enter something on the system, and by the time you get to the pharmacy, it has been dispatched, you just pick it up. So for this transformation to happen where services are more efficient, we need the software skills. The companies need software skill that can build all this different components, not only the infrastructure, but also the software that will go side by side with the hardware and will make everything more efficient. And we can continue with examples, right? And we can talk about retail. Just think about how Amazon transformed the retail business, and how many organizations are struggling trying to survive with everything that's going on retail. So these companies, they also need software skills because they need to update their services, return a product, right? You don't want to go back, go on a line, then fill some paper about what problem you have, why you want to return it. You want everything now on your phone. You just want to enter an app, go there, put the information, and then you just deliver it. Or you just return something. Thinking about retail, right? And I can continue. I can talk about government. I can talk about other industrial. But let's move on. Let's talk about what the reason why we're here. And for this transformation to happen, and what this all means is that we are in need of more demanded skilled IT talent, and we need the skill right now. We cannot wait 6 months. We cannot wait 1 year. We need the skills right now. And how can we make this happen? So for that, I would like to introduce and hand it over to my colleague at NDG, Madjida Garcia. She will be talking about one of the specific skills needed and the free courses that you can take to develop the skills. Madjida, welcome.
Thank you, Jorge. And it's a pleasure to be with you all here today. It's great to see everyone participating. Thank you for letting us know where you're from. That's always great to know. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk to you about the NDG Linux courses today and our relationship with Cisco Networking Academy and LPI. So knowing how to use Linux is an in-demand skill, and I'll explain why. People are increasingly migrating to digital solutions, as Jorge mentioned, for everyday tasks. For example, you can do your banking online, open and close your garage door, and even regulate your room temperature in your house with an app. And the reason we have these digital solutions is due to skilled developers who create these applications. Many developers choose to use an open source Linux-based technology to create code for these applications, since it's more widely available and economical to do so. So you may be thinking, well, that's great that developers use Linux, but who besides developers actually uses Linux? And that's actually a great question, and the answer may surprise you. Although you may not be using Linux on your computer, the majority of the world's servers are running Linux. And if you're using an Android phone, the operating system is Linux-based. Therefore, developers, entrepreneurs who want to develop these digital solutions for everybody in the world to use, they need to understand the importance of Linux, and especially anyone interested in DevOps needs to have administrative skills to develop software that will run on Linux systems. Also, like, let's say you want to get into cybersecurity, you will need to, at minimum, understand how to navigate a Linux system. And if you want further proof that Linux is in demand, you can simply go to a job site and search for Linux jobs. For example, here we use Indeed.com, and I just checked that as of this morning, there was actually over 100,000 job entries as of today. So this is where NDG comes in to address the demand for Linux knowledge. We've developed a series of courses designed to take you from zero Linux knowledge to having the Linux skills you need for an entry-level Linux administrator role. We do this by offering 4 courses that cover beginning to advanced Linux knowledge. In other words, these courses can take you from like, I have no idea how to use Linux, to being able to at least navigate and configure a Linux system. The first course in the series is Linux Unhatched, and it's a short 8-hour course that allows a total beginner to explore Linux. This is kind of like going for a test drive. If you've ever shopped for a car, you test the car out first. This is Linux Unhatched. You're not going to invest a lot of time into learning, but you will at least learn the very basic concepts about Linux and commands to use on the Linux command line. And the command line is a great skill since it allows developers and admins to navigate the system more efficiently. This is something that even non-developers are starting to get into, because if you've ever used a graphical interface, basically you're clicking on all these menus, all these pictures, all these windows, and the command line is a lot more efficient than that. If you're developing, or let's say you're just trying to, move files around on the system, a command line is way more efficient. So the Linux Unhatched course is offered at no cost, and it's designed for self-paced learning, meaning that any individual with interest in Linux can access the content without needing to be part of an academic institution. And one last thing about this course is that it's offered in multiple languages. The Linux Essentials course is the next course in the series. It's a more robust course. So it's a full semester course with around 70 hours of content. It's offered to self-paced learners who want to learn Linux at their own pace, but it's also offered in instructor-led format, which is designed with instructor features like a grade book and the ability to modify the course settings. Linux Essentials is also offered at no cost, and an added feature is that the course material aligns to a certificate exam, and that is the Linux Essentials Development Certificate from LPI. We'll be talking more about certification with LPI in greater detail later on, so we can show you how you can prove your Linux knowledge in the industry. The next course in the Linux series is Introduction to Linux 1. And this course is designed to build on what was covered in Linux Essentials. It provides you with more in-depth coverage and practice of Linux concepts, commands. If you're interested in system admin or even cybersecurity or just Linux in general, it's important to learn the basics of Linux, to practice the basics, and then on top of that, learn more complex scenarios so that you're not just learning theoretical knowledge, but actually learning Linux skills that you can use in the real world. And the best part about advancing to Linux 1 is that we collaborated with LPI again to align this course to the first part of their LPIC 1 certification exam. So you can use the knowledge in Linux 1 to work towards that certification. And the last course in the series is Linux 2. This course was designed to align to the second part of LPI's LPIC 1 certification. It also builds on the basics covered in Linux Essentials, so you can learn and practice more advanced concepts. And then to fully prepare for the LPIC 1 certification, you will need to take Linux 1 and 2 courses. It's a 2-part exam. The Linux 1 and 2 courses are offered for a small fee to make sure we can provide learners with the fastest, most robust virtual machines so that you can practice on real Linux systems. And using the Linux course series makes Linux less intimidating. It puts you on a learning track to Linux certification, but you can also continue into other disciplines, including networking, programmable infrastructure, cybersecurity. These are offered by our partner networking, Cisco Networking Academy, and will be discussed later by Jorge. So I gave you an overview of the courses, but here I'm going to show you how the courses work. So once you enroll in a course, it can be accessed from your browser. There's no need to download any software or any apps or anything. You can just log into the course and access all the course materials straight from your browser. We also offer technical support. So if you're in the course and something is there a glitch, or you typed in something and it didn't get the expected output, then you can reach out to our technical support team. And the way the course is laid out is that it's in a format where it offers you the traditional textbook format. So on the left, you have the reading materials, and then you also have, some formatting to show you how the commands are supposed to be formatted. And you also have examples. And then on the right, you have an actual Linux system. And in my opinion, that's the best part of the course, because you can type in the commands as you learn them. So let's say you're learning about the list command in Linux. Well, you can type in the list command and see how it works on a real Linux system. You can even explore the Linux system if you want to get a little bit creative. It won't break anything. You can just restart the machine, start over, and get to practice on a Linux system straight from your browser as you're learning about the concepts. So the full Linux courses include various types of materials to help you learn practice Linux concepts. And by full Linux courses, I mean the Linux Essentials, Linux 1 and Linux 2 courses. These include chapters, labs, exams. We have chapter exams, midterm exams, final comprehensive exams. All of these allow you to learn the concepts, then use the labs to test your knowledge, and then do the exams to make sure that you comprehend what you've learned. We also offer the on-screen keyboard in case you're using like a foreign language keyboard. You can just use the on-screen keyboard if some keys are not compatible. We also align to the latest LPI objectives, which I'll talk about later as well. Okay, so here, I want to talk a little bit about our relationship with LPI. NDG, in partnership with Cisco Networking Academy, which hosts our courses, makes it possible for learners to access our content. However, for NDG, it's not only about getting learners to access the content, it's also about helping you on your journey to gain job-ready skills. And we want to provide you with an easy path to a certification. So we collaborate with LPI to offer that. LPI works with us to make sure we have access to the latest exam objectives to keep the course content updated. And also, as a courtesy, LPI provides Cisco Networking Academy members enrolled in NDG Linux courses a 30% coupon valid in most countries to apply to LPI exam vouchers. This offer is available for each course that aligns to an exam. So the Linux Essentials course, which aligns to the Linux Essentials Development Certificate exam, and the Linux 1 and 2 courses, which align to the LPIC 1 exam. I want to focus on the exam and the objectives I discussed earlier. So the exams are definitely intimidating, right? And I'm sure some people are wondering, like, how do you ensure course materials prepare you adequately for an exam? And how can I keep track of my progress? Well, we've actually added the LPI exam objectives directly into the course so that you can keep track of all the objectives and knowledge areas covered in each chapter. You can also see the weight of the objectives, which helps when you're studying for an exam. Also not shown here is the exams, which like the way the exams look, which provide feedback so that you know what questions you missed and what section corresponds to that question. So that allows you to go back and study a specific section to better prepare. And that's all included directly in the course. So what does the whole process look like? You know, Jorge mentioned there's transformation. I'm talking to you about Linux and, you know, Linux courses. And what does the process look like going from, you know, maybe zero Linux skills to having a certification? So you would enroll in an NDG Linux course through the Cisco Networking Academy. Once you pass the course, pass all the requirements, Cisco Networking Academy, as a courtesy, provides you with a letter of completion. This is just a letter stating that, hey, you finished the NDG Linux course and it's downloadable and you can use it for your reference. I've seen people put it on their LinkedIn, on their social media, and it's a great way to show off what you've learned to the industry. It's not going to replace, you know, an LPI certification, but it's a great little letter that you can show off to your friends and your instructors saying, like, look what I took and I passed. So the next step would be, once you finish all the requirements in the course, you unlock a LPI exam coupon module. So you would claim your LPI coupon, and then you would apply that coupon through LPI to an LPI voucher. So you would log on to LPI's portal and purchase a voucher, then you could apply the coupon. When you, in the process of purchasing your voucher, you can also schedule an exam. So once you schedule your exam, you would then go ahead and sit down for your exam and wait for your scores. Once you get your scores back, and if you pass, you then become Linux Essentials certified. I use Linux Essentials for this example, but this could also apply to LPIC 1. Yeah, so then you would become certified, and that would be an industry certification that you could show off to employers. But I'm not going to go into that too much detail into this portion. I'm going to actually hand it over back to Evan so he can discuss LPI certifications and why they're so important in the industry. So Evan, go ahead and take it back and move on to certifications.
Great. Thanks, Madjida. For those of you who are new to Linux Professional Institute, let me tell you a little bit about us. We are a global nonprofit started in 1999 with a mission to promote the use of open source software by supporting the people who work with it. In the early days of Linux, its community could foresee its growth, the demand for people skilled in its use, and the global need for a trusted organization capable of verifying those skills for the benefit of employers and contractors. Those demands led to the creation of LPI, and since then, we have become by far the world's largest open source certification body. Over the years, the LPI certification has developed a reputation for quality and neutrality. We regularly revise our certifications to ensure they reflect current demands of open source professionals. We use psychometrics to ensure that our exams are fair but challenging. If you don't know the material, you will not pass. Our exams are distribution neutral in that passing the LPI certification will indicate to employers that you can work equally well with any version of Linux. Red Hat, Ubuntu, SUSE, and others will all be within your grasp. So you can fit in at any Linux shop, no matter what flavor they're using. As a result, our certifications are respected and specified by employers worldwide. As you can see on this slide, we have 3 different tracks. The Essentials track, which includes Linux Essentials, is an introductory program for those who are new to Linux, but not targeted to specific job tasks. LPIC 1, in the middle, is an entry-level system administrator certification. Beyond that, we have a second level, LPIC 2, for medium-sized organizations, and LPIC 3 for the enterprise. The LPIC 1 certification is obtained by passing 2 exams, each of them the focus of an NDG Linux course. LPIC 2 also requires passing 2 exams, and for the third level, you get to specialize. So passing any one of our third level exams would get you an LPIC 3 certification. In addition, as you can see on the right, our Linux programs are complemented by a number of others, including a certification for BSD Unix, one for DevOps, and a couple of others we have in development. So as you all know, Cisco has a worldwide presence, but LPI does as well. We've certified people in more than 190 countries and territories. Our exams are delivered in 9 languages, and we have staff and partners all over the place. As a mission-driven nonprofit, we strive to keep our exam prices down as low as possible. And so we have a tiered pricing system based on the UN Human Development Index. You can see on this map where we have a presence. We're working on all the spots that are dark, but North Korea may take a while. Jorge, I'll hand the mic back to you to help describe the tools and services that help turn all of this training and certification into a long-lasting career for somebody.
Okay, thank you, Evan. All right, so after taking the courses, and as Madjida mentioned and Evan talked about the LPI certifications, from the Cisco Networking Academy, we highly encourage you to continue, just not only take the courses, but complete the certification. And why do we need that? Because that is a validation of your skills to future employers. Then, when you have proven the skills through the certification, the Cisco Networking Academy can help and can match you with jobs listed by our partners through our Talent Bridge matching engine. Our partners are looking for skilled talent, and we are helping them find it. So I'll talk about the Talent Bridge in just a moment, because I think you're wondering why Cisco? Why would you take a Linux course through the Cisco Networking Academy? Well, one of the reasons we have partnered with the Network Development Group, as Madjida just explained, they have this great portfolio. They have these 4 courses. 2 of them are free, 2 of them are for a small fee, because they offer this great support with the virtual machines, so you don't need any extra hardware or software to learn Linux up to the LPIC 1 level. But also because the Cisco Networking Academy has been for more than 24 years helping people with their career opportunities, and also to bring options not only at a professional, but this also, our courses also go up to the personal level as well. Last year alone, Cisco Networking Academy had over 3 million students enrolled worldwide. And during these 24 years, over 15 million learners have taken our courses. And we can pretty much say that we have made an impact. These numbers that you see on the screen, they come directly from feedback we receive from our students when they answer our end of course feedback. Now you can see that 93% have mentioned that they use the skills learned in their daily lives. And the same percentage mentioned they obtain a job or an education opportunity when they complete some of our courses. 85 have mentioned that they've learned, or that mentioned that they learn something that can help them in their current job. For those who already have a job, or this can help them obtain a job or a future job they may have or that they are envisioning. And the Cisco Networking Academy, we offer a comprehensive portfolio for courses. And as you can see, networking is just a section of our portfolio. Although we're Cisco and we have great Cisco courses, we offer other areas like programmable infrastructure, cybersecurity, general operating systems and IT, programming. We have tools that can help you practice and build mastery, not just memorizing concepts, but you actually can practice and do hands-on. So you obtain real skills. Let me just give you an example about some of the other things that we mentioned and how Linux is relevant to all of this. I mentioned earlier today about network automation, right? In order to automate, guess what is the operating system that pretty much every platform for automation is using right now? Yes, it's Linux. If you go to programmable infrastructure or programming, as you can see, we're talking about infrastructure automation. Here comes again the word automation. If you want to automate, you need to have Linux knowledge. Programming, operating systems like Python, they come built in. If you install any Linux application, any Linux distribution, it already comes with Python. Python is native on almost every Linux distribution. You don't need to install anything else. So, and it is also Linux, a common platform for software developers. Cybersecurity. On cybersecurity, we offer a nice path for you. If you don't have any knowledge about cybersecurity, you can start with an intro course, then you move to an essential, then you can continue to a more advanced career course. But a common denominator on cybersecurity, again, is Linux. I can pretty much say 90–95% of the tools used for cybersecurity, we're talking about forensics, we're talking about penetration testing, they are built and they come on Linux. So if you really want to have a career in cybersecurity, of course, you will need the cybersecurity skills and the knowledge, and we have great courses for that, but Linux will become one of the components in order to become a successful professional in cybersecurity. And of course, you will find the Linux courses on the operating systems and general IT section of our portfolio. So this is one of our pathways. We're going to be pasting on the chat a link where you can find some of the pathways that we offer at the Cisco Networking Academy. This one is for programmable infrastructure. As you can see, we have Linux right there. It's a core component of this pathway, right? If you want to become or you want to explore the area of automation in IT, you're going to require some, of course, Linux knowledge, also some knowledge about basic programming. It could be Python, it could be another programming language. And then you can continue your career into maybe the Internet of Things. You can continue your career what is called DevNet. DevNet is a new area that will have a huge demand in the future about how are you going to do development in networking, which is not only gonna be configuring devices, but how do you develop a network? And for that, you need these skills. And again, Linux is gonna be centered to all of this. I think I mentioned just a few moments ago a little bit about our Talent Bridge. So Talent Bridge is our employment program for Cisco Networking Academy. Once you become a Cisco Networking Academy student, then you will get access to this tool and program. And we have many components here that can really help you get a job and develop better skills. We offer virtual job events. We have opportunities to join dream teams. These are teams that are put together to support events in different parts of the world. We have the alumni network on LinkedIn for our graduates. We have workshops that can help you prepare for a future career. We have our career advice section. So here we have a recording, we have information about many topics, you know, soft skills, about how to build a resume, how to prepare for an interview. If you're looking for the first job, this will be a great place for you to look for some support. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, our matching engine. Now, this engine is you logged in, you join it, then you enter the information, not only the courses that you've taken through the Cisco Networking Academy. If you took the course somewhere else at school or in another website, then you can enter all this information, all the skills and knowledge that you have accumulated. You can enter that on our matching engine, and we will go and try to find a match through the network of our Cisco partners. So as Evan mentioned, we also have presence in pretty much all these countries. And our partners, they come to our tool trying to find the right talent. So we help you make this connection. That's the purpose of the talent bridge. And through this matching engine, we can help you. So welcome you to join and to join the program and participate and hopefully obtain a better job or your first job opportunity, or as I mentioned before, a better career opportunity through the program. And just to finish up, right? IT jobs are everywhere, so it's great to see people from all around the world. I see people from all these areas, pretty much from all these countries. I see somebody when the session started, putting your name and where you're from, right? So IT skills and IT jobs are available everywhere. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can still go and pursue a career in this area. And with a globalized world, you could be anywhere. You could be in Europe, you could be in Asia, you could be in Africa, and you could be offering services for organizations in a completely different country. So don't limit yourself like, hey, in my country, there are not that many opportunities in IT. Think about the opportunities that exist globally, because that's what the networks and what the internet is allowing us to do. So with this, I'll pass it back to you, Evan.
You're muted there, Evan.
That would help. Sorry. Thanks, Jorge. We've covered an awful lot of ground here, and the opportunity is really exciting. So if you'd like more information on this in-demand career path, here's what to do next. Go to the website that's on the screen now, ndg.tech/explore Linux. That will give you more details on how to train, how to claim your exam discount coupons, how to pass the exams, and how to move forward into a livelihood that is both sustaining and future-proof. After the webinar, all of you will get an email to point you to the NDG site where you'll find the 4 Linux courses that we've talked about. When you enroll into the NDG course, you're brought to the Cisco Networking Academy site. This is because the NDG courses are hosted on the Networking Academy platform. By enrolling, you'll become part of the networking community and all our resources that are going to help you find a job. So keep an eye in the coming days for a follow-up email that will have links to the NDG site with follow-up information. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. Madjida, Jorge, and I have outlined how Network Development Group, Linux Professional Institute, and Cisco Networking Academy have teamed up to offer you a direct path to a well-paying, satisfying career working with Linux and open source software. And so I'll take the opportunity now to try and address some of the questions that have been raised. I'll answer the ones I can myself, and where I can, I will ask Madjida and Jorge to help. So one question is the Linux Essentials exam a prerequisite to taking the LPI C1 and LPI C1 exams? And the answer is no. We recommend that you take the Linux Essentials course if you're just getting into Linux, and if you just even want to test the waters, look at that Linux Unhatched course. The Linux Essentials is literally that. It's just the essentials. It's the basics of what you need to understand your way around a Linux system. And so that in itself is going to be good for a lot of people, especially if you're working in some other field that needs some Linux. But if Linux and open source is going to be your career, then you definitely do want to take the LPIC program, which means taking the Linux 1 and Linux 2 exams from NDG. Linux 1 points to our exam 101. Linux 2 points to our 102 exam. Both of those need to be passed to get the LPI C1 certification. You do not need Essentials as a prerequisite for it, but we do recommend it for people that are new to Linux and getting just involved into it. Somebody said, how can I appear for the exams? So the LPI exams are delivered through the Pearson VUE exam network. And so you will register, as you register to take the exams, you'll be taken to the Pearson VUE site where you will have a choice of two things. One of is to actually go to a Pearson VUE test center and have those in just about every country. Of course, thanks to COVID, a lot of people have not been able to go to test centers. And so we've developed a program called OnView, which allows you to sit for these exams in your own home and office using a remote system. So you have a choice of either of those two things, either going to an exam center or taking it home using OnView. Let's see. So Madjida, one of the questions is, I'd like to know if this Linux course focuses on all forms of Linux or if it focuses on a single one. So somebody would like to learn more about Ubuntu and to know if that's covered. From the exam point of view, the exam covers the skills that are needed on all versions of Linux. But Madjida, would you like to offer any more on that?
Sure. Yeah, we do cover various Linux distributions in the content. So we do discuss them and review them and give you an overview. The Linux virtual machines in the courses run Ubuntu and CentOS. So we do cover those at length, not only in the content, but also in the labs and on the virtual machine itself. You will get to test those out.
Okay. I have a question just came in. Is the content of the course upgraded to the latest release? I mean, it's my understanding that NDG tracks the LPI exams very closely. As far as I'm aware right now, the exams are totally in sync with the current course exam requirements. Let's see. Is there any difference from an exam taken at a VUE center or a home office from the employer's perspective? The employer cares about the certification. If you pass the exams, you'll be certified. It's as simple as that. And we don't make a distinction whether you took the exam at home or you took it at a Pearson VUE center. If you know your materials walking into the exam, you'll pass. If you don't, you won't. And so to us, it just matters that you pass your exams. If you do, you get certified, and your certification doesn't indicate where you took the exams. The certification is the same no matter where in the world you get it. Madjida, does the platform have an online command line interface to practice with?
Yes, the Linux courses do, all the Linux courses have a command line interface to practice with. And as I mentioned, they run usually Ubuntu or CentOS.
Okay, and let's see, one more. So, sorry. I'm already LPI certified. How about LPI 2 from NDG?
Thank you for your feedback. We love to get feedback about, requests. We'll definitely forward that to our development team and let you know publicly on our social media if that ever happens. But for now, you're free to contact us at netdevgroup.com and let us know what you're interested in.
Okay. Are there any last minute questions? I think we've covered off most of them. There was
Hey,
one.
Evan, there is one question that somebody, Rajesh, is asking if they cannot find an academy near them, how should they proceed? Well, this is a great thing about these courses that we just mentioned, right? You can take these courses. They are designed self-paced. So Linux Unhatched, Linux Essentials, and Linux 1 and 2, they were designed self-paced. Of course, you can take them through an academy, but if you cannot find one near you, you can just go to the netdev.com group or to the Networking Academy site, and you can search for the courses. You can self-enroll. The link that we're going to put at the end that will take you to the NetDev group, NDG. You will find the information on how to register for these courses. So you don't need necessarily to find an academy for the Linux course.
Okay, thanks, Jorge. Let's see. There's some questions of, how do we compare ourselves to CompTIA or Linux Foundation or things like that. There's a lot of programs that are out there. Ours is proven. We've been around doing this since 1999. And like I say, we're the only program that actually has multiple levels that allows you to start from the beginning from Linux Essentials and go all the way into enterprise. None of the others allows for that range. Not CompTIA, not Linux Foundation, not Red Hat. LPI has been doing this for a long time. We've had the ear of the community, and they've told us that they want something comprehensive that can take somebody from beginner's knowledge to being able to work in an enterprise. So that's always been a source of pride. We've always been a community organization. That's been our strength. We are a membership organization in which certified people actually are the members of LPI and help determine our direction. So that is also unique to us. So we know what the community needs. We know what the employers need. I can't speak so much for the others, but I know that's always been a strength of ours. I've been around since the founding of the organization, and it's always been a source of pride. That we have been able to do this, and we've been able to listen to our community worldwide. And let's see. So, and the last question we'll end with is, how much is paid for an LPIC 1 with the discount? And the answer is, it will vary. So as I said during the presentation, the exam prices are going to differ around the world. The prices in Africa are going to be different from the prices in North America and Europe. At the LPI website, you'll be able to see the difference in prices. I don't have them memorized, but we're, as a nonprofit with a mission-driven program, our goal is to try and make the exams as affordable as we possibly can, while still doing the quality and being able to deliver them in a way employers need. So that's about it. I don't see any other last minute questions, so I think we will wrap that up. So that's all for today. I want to thank Jorge and Madjida for help us covering a lot of ground in this webinar. Our three organizations have come together to help get you trained, certified, and employed in one of the most important technologies in use right now. I want to thank you for coming, and also remind you that everyone who's registered to attend today will get a follow-up email that has links to the presentation slides and a recording of what you heard today. So again, I want to thank you for coming and wish you a good rest of what's left of your day, depending on where you are. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you again.